back with episode 4 of r/Prorevenge. Got 3 more stories for you today. The first story is about a dad who gets the best revenge on some line cutters at an amusement park. For the second story, we've got some neighbors who decide to consistently destroy our reader's hedges and see exactly how he decides to get them back. And for the third story, I have got the most devastating revenge I have read yet on another subreddit called r/Nuclear Revenge. Make sure you stick around and check that out as well. And of course, we've always got our few bonuses for the very end, so make sure you stick around for that as well, because there are going to be some good ones. Alright, see you in a bit. My dad gets revenge on line cutters in the best way possible. So for Christmas one year, my parents got us season passes for Six Flags. We used those passes often throughout the summer as a family, and had an amazing time. It was one of those days that it happened. We waited in line for one of the more popular lines, which had a 45-minute wait point. This was relatively good for this ride, as you can wait up to an hour and a half at its busiest points. We got to the line, excited to share this ride with our dad, as it's one of the few rides he can actually ride, as he has a back injury that makes just walking around extremely painful at times. We were in line, laughing and making jokes while watching little TVs they had set up at various points, when a group of rude people cut us and stood in front of us. Our dad had a habit of not letting things slide, so we all braced for cover while watching our dad, waiting for him to go off at these people for cutting us, when to our surprise, he didn't say anything. With confused looks on our face, we all wondered why he hadn't told them off and to get behind us. He just looked at us with a look in his eyes saying, "Wait for it." We shrugged it off and continued our wait. We didn't make it too far into this line at this point, so it was still a 45-minute wait. As we get closer to the front of the line, we get more and more excited to ride with our dad, and we have a great time. The way the line is set up, before you get in the loading station, there are 2-way staircases that has the regular line on one side and the fast pass line on the other side. At the top of the stairs, there are workers to make sure people in the fast pass line are supposed to be there. This is where my dad strikes. After waiting 45 minutes in line behind cutters, we stood at the top of the stairs, and my dad signaled for a worker's attention. Once he received it, he pointed to the group that had cut us and calmly stated that they had cut us at the beginning of the line. The worker politely told the group that they would need to leave the line and go back to the beginning. They were pissed, but followed the instructions and left the line. The worker thanked my father for informing them, and suddenly pieces pushed in place in our mind. Our dad had purposely waited to the very last minute to make sure they had to wait another 45 minutes. Plus, more time as the line was longer now as it was later in the day, and more people had arrived. I couldn't help but laugh as I watched them walk out of line and back towards the beginning, and just hope that they learned their lesson not to cut after that. I don't know what it is, but something about line cutters at amusement park is just so much more infuriating than cutting in line anywhere else. Maybe it's the heat or the wait time, but the fact that this dad could hold it in and do right at the last second to make sure they had to wait all that extra time, that's pretty impressive. Dumb neighbors think there aren't any consequences to destroying our hedge. Quick heads up, English is not my native language. Sorry for spelling mistakes. So this happened a few years ago. In front of my house, there's a hedge which was previously owned by the city I live in. The hedge is pretty big and expensive to maintain. Seen as it was expensive to maintain by the city, they wanted to get rid of it. They gave the street 2 options, either turn the hedge into grass or give it to the nearest household, the one of my family, and they would have to maintain it from there on. Our neighbors really pushed us on the responsibility of the hedge. They were scared of people letting their dogs poop there. So seeing as their argument seemed logical, my parents said okay to the offer. This is where the trouble started. The first 2 weeks were pretty good. I earned a few bucks by cutting it with some shears. When I went to cut the hedge on the 3rd week, I noticed that on my neighbor's side of the house, it had been ridden over with what seemed to be a car. My dad thought it would be a one-time thing. Well, he was wrong. Our neighbors kept destroying the hedge and would never acknowledge they were in the wrong, until one day, they had nearly driven over half of the hedge. My dad actually lost his marbles. He went to the construction store and bought 7 sheets of 4-meter long metal plates. That weekend, my dad and I spent 4 hours bending the plates to fit in a good turn around the edge of the hedges. We replanted the entire hedge, which took about 2 hours, and placed the metal fence inside the hedge, and we went back inside and waited. Literally half a day later, they wanted to get out of their driveway, and they saw we had the hedge again, which of course was unacceptable. When they tried to drive over it again, they got stuck in the metal wall. We didn't notice until our doorbell was rung aggressively. My dad and I went to open the door, and the first thing our neighbor did was shout, "What the hell, asshole? What the hell did you do to my car?" My dad said calmly, "Well, slow down, neighbor's name. I didn't do anything to your car." Neighbor, "Well, how the hell did my car get stuck on your hedge?" My dad, "Well, how is your car even in my hedge?" Neighbor, "Well, you still broke my car and I'm effing suing you." My dad, "Well, of course you will." My dad slammed the door in his face, and I could hear my neighbor still scream on the other side of the door. He ended up not suing us, but he still hates us. The wall is still in our hedge, and our neighbor still hates us. Worth it. I had to improv a bit there in that story. It was a bit of a doozy to read, but all in all, it was a pretty good story. Although I'm just questioning all these stories lately about people who will hit a mailbox, hit a hedge. Is this just a common thing in the world where neighbors will run over mailboxes, hedges, and then end up blaming the owner for their destroyed car? Hey guys, so I want to give a bit of a heads up with this next story. This is not going to be r/Prorevenge. This next story is actually going to be r/Nuclear Revenge. Essentially the same thing, although it's ramped up quite a few degrees. If that's not something you're into, go ahead and skip right past it and go straight into the bonus. I will be posting a little text or image stamp at the top to let you know when the story is still going on. If you like to skip past it, go right ahead and get straight into the bonus, but for everyone else, let's get right into it. Ex-girlfriend makes false rape allegations. I destroy her life. So I was dating this girl, let's call her S, for about 5 months. The usual crap. She was a total gold digger and was only with me to get me to buy her stuff. I didn't realize it for some time, but I finally snapped when she got so pissed at me for not taking her to a fancy enough restaurant for my birthday. I dumped her and told her it was the end of it. Nope. Turns out S is the literal scum of the earth and accuses me of rape. Her friends all back her up, even though they didn't even effing know my name. I end up getting fired from a pretty decent job as a manager of a hotel. On top of this, my family disowns me, and my sister, who is my entire world, won't even look at my face anymore. I am effing seething at this point. Nobody in the city is willing to hire me because even a cursory background check reveals the rape allegations. S had left her Facebook account logged in my computer, and I'd never even checked before because I'm a pretty trusting person, but now I'm done with her crap. I find out she's been cheating on me with multiple guys while we were dating. This is the last straw. I went to my buddy G, who is a penetrator tester for a pretty big tech organization. He basically hacks companies to tell them their weak spots and gets paid for it. He knew the real story about S, and being one of my closest friends, he was nearly as pissed as I was. He gladly agreed to tap her calls and every single bit of traceable technology in her house. It was illegal to do so, but it wouldn't be able to be traced back to either of us. Eventually, bingo, I get what I need. A phone call of her and her friends laughing about making up those allegations and ruining my life. I could have stopped there, but I shared the tape everywhere to clear my name. But it wasn't big enough at this point. Clearing my name wasn't going to be the end of it. I was going to ruin this girl's life. While we were dating, S had bragged to me about how she regularly stole from a car dealership where she worked. And I'm not talking about 10s or 15s. I'm talking about thousands of dollars over the years. I had screenshots of these conversations saved on my phone. And thanks to G, I got recordings of her admitting it to her friends as well. I sent these in to her employer, along with the recordings of her saying she made up the allegations. I then shared them on every single social media platform I was on, and so did all my remaining friends. Within 2 weeks, she was fired, and I had a lawsuit filed against me by her former employer. My name had been cleared, and most people apologized to me for believing this girl without any proof. My sister broke down, shaking and crying with rage, when she found out that she ended the one most meaning relationship she had because of a lie. I wasn't going to stay in contact with any of the people who turned against me, however, and cut them all off, including my own sister, out of my life. I figured if they didn't trust me enough to know that I wouldn't do something like that, then they didn't know me at all. Thanks to G's constant surveillance, I knew exactly what she was doing at all times. She soon moved to another city, as nobody was willing to hire her after finding out of her reputation. Over the next 4 years, whenever she got a job, I would send her employer a copy of the recordings and the images. I didn't let her use any unsuspecting guy for money, and whenever she started dating someone, I would send them recordings of her laughing about making false rape allegations. She, of course, had no idea how I was doing any of this, but couldn't do anything to stop me. I finally stopped about a year ago to let myself move on with my life, and the last time I checked, she was living out of a motel with a minimum wage job. TLDR, my girlfriend falsely accused me of rape. I tapped her phone and recorded about her laughing about it, as well as admitting to stealing tons of money from her job. I then made sure she never got another boyfriend or a decent job again. So yeah, like I said guys, definitely ramped up a few degrees. A lot more than the usual petty revenge. Let me know how you like it. Let me know if you want me to do more. Maybe make a specific video about nuclear revenge. Just leave a comment down below and we'll see if we can get some more like that in the future. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the r/Prorevenge and r/nuclear revenge stories. Now we're going to jump straight into the bonus, and today's bonus is going to be r/that happened. Alright, let's get into it. Local supermarket now has googly-eyed robot whose sole purpose is to patrol the aisles looking for spills. Its name is Marty. Is it wrong that I want to just purposely make spills so I can hang out with Marty? I swear to God, there's a girl in my class who can read my thoughts. She's always looking at me funny when I'm thinking inappropriate things, so I said in my head, "Start laughing if you can hear me," and she started laughing. I'm so scared. Quick story. Once my English teacher had a slightly off and very religious, borderline radical Christian student that fell asleep during one class, and there's an atheist girl in that class. So when he fell asleep, all the students except the atheist left their backpacks and jackets on their chair and left the room. And when the kid woke up and started to panic, he looked over and saw the atheist girl reading a book still in the classroom. She turned the page, returned his glance, and said, "Hey." And the kid freaked the hell out because he sincerely thought he missed the rapture. Hey man, God don't take kindly to you falling asleep during Shakespeare. You better watch it. Hey guys, hope you enjoyed today's video. Especially hope you enjoyed the r/nuclear revenge. I know I did. It's a lot of fun for me. And if you want to hear more of that in the future, just leave a comment down below. I could even do its own video if you'd like. Alright, see you later. Peace out.